First of all, I want to thank Marianela for inviting me and letting me be an honorary Dominican for a couple of hours. I feel muy colada, no? Like in Panamanian, we say we parachute into other people's parties when, you haven't been invited. So I feel a little bit like that. It's such an honor for me to be here today and be part of this program. I'm going to be reading from my new book, which, speaking about translations, I translated most of the poems myself, the ones that were in English to Spanish and vice versa. And it was quite an interesting process for me. So the first, I thought I would try to read some poems that are representative of the nostalgia that I feel sometimes in the winter. And I figure that since some of you are from islands too, I would like to read this to you. I was born on an island, but the sea was too far away to mean anything, except on those rare days when we packed into Father's car next to bags, food, and clothes. Going to the beach was a long, surprising ride. Tall trees becoming smaller, green transforming to tan. Then, with the last pull of an invisible cover, the first run to endless blues of ocean and sky kissing each other shamelessly right before our eyes. This is another nostalgia poem. It's called Tropical Island. The sky looks tropical lately, she says casually, gazing at red and purple streaks framed by the car window. To my left, orange cones, I-84 narrows. I switch lanes and slow down enough to observe her bare shoulders, long black hair, sandals next to her feet. Her sadness makes me want to conjure an offering, have a wild orchid appear on her lap or between her soft, small breast. I catch a glimmer of the volcanoes and rainforest behind her eyes. Hear waves crash against her homeless heart. She rests her head on the car seat, glancing at clouds that yearn for a place to be. Beautiful, isn't it? Makes you almost homesick, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I whisper. My high school reunion in Panama, Panama City, where I grew up, happened recently, and they invited me to go, and I couldn't go. So I imagined what people would be like that I haven't seen since we were kids. So I wrote this poem, and it's sort of playing with that idea. It's called The Inhabitants of My Past. At first, I couldn't tell if the woman jaywalking, darting between cars towards the place we agreed to meet was my classmate from elementary school, the one with whom I spent teenage afternoons looking for trouble, the same one who counted the days until our high school graduation. On the sidewalk, we call our names in unison, hesitantly. Decades of absence clouds recognition. In the cafe, she tells me about her life, her grandchildren. She tells me about those we both knew, the girls, now women, who inhabited our past. She tells me that a classmate died, run over by a car, and I think I should be careful crossing the street, just in case death wants to take another trophy from our school, our class. I smile and say yes when she mentions names to hide my uncertainty, not really knowing if the face that surges from my memory belongs to that name or to another whose existence I have long forgotten. She tells me about the lives I have missed, and I am happy to learn that the one whose eyeglasses I broke when we were kids married a millionaire, thanks to her political connections. You know, she says softly, people say horrible things about the one who was always a tomboy. They say she's a lesbian. My friend speaks even lower, as if the syllables of the last word have dirtied her tongue. Ella, de verdad, really, that one. I had no idea. Can we marry twice? Children? I respond, taken aback, the doubt now making circles in the air, like the spoon I'm using to sweeten the coffee once again. My classmate continues to bring the light to light past events. Remember the skinny one, the one we call Palitroque? Can you imagine? Her son committed suicide. My old classmate chooses the names and events one by one with the same finesse she might use to select and unwrap an exquisite chocolate. All those lives hidden for 30 years, appearing one by one like the colorful scarves magicians pull out of their hats. In front of me, she smiles and her small eyes close as if these memories, the unearthed past, has made her old. As if each year lived since then has filled an hourglass that sits, floating inside the glass of lemonade she draws close to her red lips. I want to read, I have to read this to you because I think since this is the first time I'm reading from my new book, and you will really understand this poem because I feel that we don't need Garcia Marquez to explain us because we are such magic realism ourselves. We don't need anybody. And this is sort of my magic realism conversation with my mother, and it's called Daydreaming. I should have looked for my favorite flower in this lush garden, count the blossoms, and in true Latin fashion, go out and play the numbers in the lottery. I should look at the shades of green, listen to the bird songs, and once satisfied that I could tell the difference between them, count those too. During our last visit, my mother opened the door to her past, a crack, to tell me the story of Uncle Francisco and the lottery. 80 years ago, my older brother Francisco kept a chicken. One morning, numbers appeared on an egg, so clear that he went out and bought them in the lottery. What a chicken, I thought. My mother told the story as if it was the most natural thing in the world. To this day, she remembers the last two numbers, 7 and 5, which became the family's lucky numbers. With his winnings, Francisco built a house for the whole family. They lived together, Grandma, the widow, 3 sons, 3 daughters, Francisco, his wife, and his son, the adopted one. Now I think that maybe I should go to the refrigerator and inspect the eggs inside the cardboard box from a free-range farm in New Hampshire. If I win, one thing worries me. How big my house should be. For how many? Thank you very much.